You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrive Time Business Coach Radio Show.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. And inside the box that rocks, we have two very special guests with us today. We have Paul Hood with Hood CPAs, and Jill Donovan, the founder of Rustic Cuff, is in the box today. Paul Hood, how are you, sir?
I am amazing. I'm standing next to Jill. She's like a hero. She's like, everybody knows, has heard about her, and I'm here standing next to her, Clay. Thank you.
Jill, the thrill. And Paul, have you already done a hard pitch for accounting services?
I haven't yet. I thought I would just let her absorb my incredible personality for a little while. Then we'll talk business.
It's
and
absorbed.
Her team was on the way out when they were leaving. Did you try to recruit her team to come work for you?
Yeah. I didn't know that was her team, though, so I wouldn't have tried if I'd have known.
Now, this is
Jill.
This is what happens. I mean this. If you're a boss, or maybe you're listening today and you want to be a boss, or you are a boss, I want to talk about 3 things that you have to be doing all the time. And then I would like for Jill to pontificate as to whether she agrees or maybe she has other things she thinks you should be focusing on. And because she will be the Monday morning quarterback, she gets to one-up me. And then Paul, because it's rude to one-up people, you can really one-up her. So you're going to one-up me twice, basically, here. And one-up her as well. So here we go. A boss, you must always be recruiting good people. Always. This is why bosses that I know who do well in business, every time they're out to eat, they go, "Oh, that waiter, we should hire them." Yes. Oh, wow, so they're always hiring. Second thing a boss should do: the boss is always making sure somebody's selling something. I mean, that's like bosses are always going, "Hey, by the way, hey, I don't know if you've thought about we could team up and do this," or "Hey, here, Jill, by the way, here's my card here. I could do your accounting." I mean, bosses are always thinking that way.
Absolutely.
And the third is a boss has to know their numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The boss has to know.
Preach it, Clay.
How are we doing? Do we know our numbers? Are we doing well? Are we not doing well? And a boss, remember, the boss overall, the big encompassing, put a bow on it. A boss must make big obstacles seem small for their team. They cannot be the one who thinks everything's overwhelming. But a lot of times, employees, they don't mean it in a bad way. But a lot of times, I'll pitch an idea in a meeting, and an employee will go, "Oh gosh, but what if? Is it legal? Is it ethical? When will we find the time? Do we have the technology? Have you ever done it before? How do you know you're going to be good at it? How do we know it's going to work?" And a boss just sort of gets it done. So I'd like to start with you, Jill. Let's talk about this idea of constantly recruiting. As a boss, do you believe that is one of your duties? And do you do this?
Even when I don't need somebody, whenever I am anywhere, I look at the person, not their skill level per se, but just their character. And I think, I don't know what I could have you do for my company, but I just like you and want you. And I can't, I've done this on flights. I've done it at the mall. I'll see somebody who goes above and beyond in a job that most people wouldn't. And I just say, here's my card, call me.
You do that.
I do that. I have one of my best employees who now lives in Dallas.
Really?
I found her through a shoe. She was selling shoes, okay? And I put on a pair of bright yellow patent leather boots. And she looked at me, and they weren't cheap. And I thought, for sure, she'll tell me for sure she loves them. And she looked at me and she said, "Those boots don't work for you."
Really?
And
the boldness.
Which was awesome because she didn't have a backup for it, which means she was going to lose the sale. And afterward, I bought something else because I trusted her that they didn't look good. And it was a lot cheaper. And I said, "Here's the deal. We've never met, but I've got to tell you, you were so honest with me about that very expensive pair of boots that I gotta hire you." And so 2 months later, I did. And she's been working for me for about 4 years now.
Really? So this is the shoe lady. You met her at the shoe store.
At the mall.
And then what roles did you promote her to within Rustic Cuff?
Sales.
Really?
Yeah.
So, Paul, let's talk about this.
Meaning the showroom. She works in the showroom.
I've seen Paul do this, by the way. Not at the showroom, but I've seen Paul pick off the friends of his son.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Your son is a fitness guy.
Yeah.
He's a hardworking guy, OSU graduate, Oklahoma State University.
Go Pokes.
And he'll have these young whippersnappers he's hanging out with.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of get that crazy eye, and they're like, "What's your dad doing?" He's like, "I think my dad's trying to recruit you right now." I mean, seriously, don't you do that?
Absolutely. You know, Clay, you got to think of your business as a professional football team, and you're always looking for that next quarterback or that next running back, that person that just has the desire and the heart and just wants to learn and wants the opportunity. We have a guy working for us right now is actually Bryce's brother-in-law and has no accounting background, no finance background, but he's managing about $40,000 a month worth of accounts because he was hungry, and we plugged him into a system. And, yeah, we recruited him straight off the bat because, you know, I don't know what to say because he was a Marine, but you can't say ex-Marine because they say once a Marine, always a Marine. So he used to be an active Marine, and that spoke a lot to me, but he was just that guy. You know, he was, and I don't care if it's male, female, I don't care sex, I don't care, you know, race. It's show me your heart, show me your desire. And I'll plug you into our system, and you can be very, very successful.
This excites me so much because you've already done the work for me, and now I'm going to pick them off from you.
No, here you go. Well,
now,
you know
okay.
what? High five. Get him.
Now, this is something that that is my ethics on this, and some of you might say, I thought this show didn't have any ethics. And you might, listen, this is my rules, and I, unfortunately, feel like I need to share this story because somebody out there is saying, but wait, you don't understand. Oh, I do. Okay, so here we go. Years ago, I had a very good employee. And a guy who I thought was my friend. We'll call him a friend to me.
Yeah.
He says, could I come up to your office up there? I'd like to talk to you about hiring you to help me with my marketing. And I said, sure. And I swear the Lord knows this to be true. John out there knows it to be true. Crazy. I go to the bathroom because the guy's not there yet, okay? And I have a young woman who just started working for us, shadowing me that day. So in this very room, the box that rocks, I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom, and if the client gets here early, greet him, and I'll be – because it was early. It was before the appointment was supposed to start. The appointment was supposed to start, let's say, figuratively at like 3 o'clock, and it's like 2:50. They're not there yet. I said, I'm going to use the restroom. Well, the potential client shows up early, about 2:55. I come back. And they're talking. And I noticed that as soon as I walked into the room, the countenance of the conversation changed. The aura was weird. It's like someone was minimizing a computer screen. It was like you busted someone doing something they shouldn't be doing. And they're like, hey, what's going on? About a week later, this employee we just hired probably 6 months ago says, hey, I just want you to know I've taken another job. I hate to do this to you. So then I go into a store to buy something for my wife from my friend's business, my friend to me. And I'd see her working there.
Awkward.
And I said, hey. And she goes, oh, he recruited me that day I was in your office. And I said, really? So I called my friend to me. I said, friend to me, hey, did you hire one of my people? And he says, well, yeah, it's just business. And see, that's where I would totally disagree right there. That's where I would say, I'm recruiting. Now, let me tell you about me doing something dirty, and I didn't even know I was being dirty. I was being dirty. This is me being dirty. I discovered that Chick-fil-A has good people.
Very.
And so Andrew, we're growing Epic Photography at the time, epicphotos.com. And Andrew applies for a job. And I hire Andrew. And I'm like, this guy's good. So I said, Andrew, if you know of any other Chick-fil-A people, let me know because they're good people. And he says, oh, absolutely. I'm dating one of them. And I said, really? He says, yeah, man, I'm dating her. We're going to get married soon. So I hired her. Then he says, my brother would be great too. Hired him. I get a call from a dude. He lets me know, hey. Actually, no, he called Andrew first, and he said, hey, tell your dude to quit hiring my people.
Time out.
Tell your boss to stop hiring my people. So I said, okay. I told Andrew, please communicate. I've never been into that store to snipe the people, but I would have if I didn't know the guy.
You're right.
And Andrew, but it's interesting how, like, as owners, we have different kind of pirate ethics about this.
Yes.
My rule is if I'm your friend, I won't try to recruit your people. But some people I know just don't ever try to recruit people at all when it's someone else's business. Do you have a certain ethic to this, Jill? I mean, are you okay to try to recruit people everywhere you are, or do you say, I will not try to do it at someone else's business? Or what are your rules for constantly recruiting?
I can't know the business owners.
As long as we don't know them, it's fine.
I can't know them or know somebody who knows them. Now, I have to tell you this. Just in full disclosure, there are a lot of teachers from my kids' school who were not retiring, but had worked there a long time, and then they came over to work for.
Do you get the evil eye when you walk up in that place?
Well, no, I don't, because we all passionately love this school. But now that you're framing it this way, I'm starting to feel a little guilty. But here's the deal. It was time for them. They were ready.
Oh, yeah.
It was time for them.
It was a time to kill.
No, they were ready to move on to another phase, another season, and so I was there to catch them when they were launched.
Hey, Clay, can I be honest with you?
Yeah, please.
I thought about stealing every one of your employees. But
Clay,
he's got good people.
He's got great ones.
This is what's interesting, though. And I have other. I want to share about this because this is yet another story that the listeners need to know. Years ago, I had a client I worked with, had a very small business, and they said, "We're struggling. We've not made money in years." Years? Oh yeah, we're deeply in debt. We're barely breaking even, and So I noticed one of my top employees says, "Hey, I'm gonna take another job." I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I don't want to talk about it. It's private." I said, "Where are you going? Come on, just tell me." "Nah, it's just one. I'm like, "Well, you worked with me for years. Could you just tell me where you're going? I just want to know. I'm just curious." He's like, "Well, you can't save me. I'm not trying to get you back. I just want to know, just so I know." He says, "Well, here's the deal. You know that client you helped? They've hired me." And I'm like, "Oh, now is it a 2-for-1 special? Because usually it is. Are they hiring 2 people or 3?" "There's 2 of us." So I call the client who I've helped almost on the verge of bankruptcy, now become a big bad business. "Are you hiring my people?" And they said, "Absolutely. You guys produce the best there." And again, those are moves where I can't go there with you, but I do know people that do that.
Well, Clay,
they don't feel bad.
My rule is I'm going to come to you first.
There
and
it
say,
is.
"Clay, I really like this person. If they ever have any indication they're going to leave, then I'm going to ask
and
your
that's
permission."
my move.
Yeah.
But it's not like written in a book anywhere. But like Angela applied for a job. You've met Angela there. And I knew where Angela worked. And so I called the boss. I said, "Hey, is it cool?" He said, "Absolutely. She has hit the ceiling of what she can do here. You're the best employer I know of for her skill set. Hire her. No reservations. All is well." But I called first.
Yeah.
But I don't know that's in a book anywhere.
No, but you've invested significant time and energy and resources training people. And so, fine. If my enemies, if I have any, I'm sure I do, come and poach my people, but for a friend and a friend that knows the type of, time and effort that we've put into people, I would not hire a single person from you, Clay, and without your permission, even if they were leaving.
Now, somebody who is married to Damien, so Damien's wife,
right?
She applied for a job here, and at the time I was not hiring. And again, go back to Jill's point, you're never done hiring. As a boss, you've got to make big obstacles seem small, and the way to do that is to never stop recruiting. So this lady comes in sharp, Damien's wife, sharp lady, great lady, smart lady, and I'm going, I have nowhere to put her. So I called Shaw Homes up. Boop, 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 boop. "Shaw, are you looking for somebody?" And Aaron Antis said, "Yeah, I am. I'm Aaron Antis, the head of Shaw Homes."
Yeah, I know that guy.
And so he hired her. And I do that a lot.
You're the great connector.
You have to do that, though. You got to stop. You got to always. You can never stop recruiting. You've just got to get the mindset today. You're never going to take down the now hiring ads. Now, the next thing you must do as a boss to make big obstacles seem small. Again, all this is proactive stuff, not reactive. Don't tell me about how you can't find good people if you're not always recruiting. Second idea, you got to always be selling something. And it seems like the more people you hire, you're like in a room filled with people. None of the people in that room have sold something this year or last year or in the last quarter. And usually they have no thoughts about trying to sell something. Now, I'm not speaking to Jill's people or Paul's people. I'm just talking about myself and my people. Usually they'll say, "Is there any way we could talk about when we get off for Labor Day?" And I'm like, "We haven't sold anything at all this way. How is it possible that every meeting in a row you never talk about selling something?" And they'll go, "Okay, I have one more question. Do we have our company values on the wall?" Stop it! There's a misspelling on a poster in the bathroom. Stop it! You stop. You try to sell something, and they can't sell something because they don't have the dragon energy. So what they want to do is they want to take a little bit of your something to tell you how your something's not good enough. They always want to say, "You should have spell checked it before you sent out the YouTube video. Somebody wrote a bad comment." Meanwhile, I'm saying sell something. Just sell anything. Frick, I will rent myself to you for a fee just so that some kind of transaction has occurred in this meeting. What the crap? But I'm sure you've never seen this phenomenon, Paul, in Hood CPAs.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk to me about this? Why is it that most people by default have a aversion to sales, and why do you focus on the bottom line, brass tacks? Are we selling something?
Well, people hate being rejected. Oh. And, even at our place, we have great people. But a lot of times they're still waiting on me to lead. They're wanting me to create to open the doors, and then they'll run in and grab it. And, I always tell them leadership is taken, not given. And as long as I'm creating the leads, then, I'm going to make most of the money. And if you want to step out there and you want to grow with our firm and be more important to me, then you got to take work off of me, or you got to create more work. And I don't care what business you're in, it's sales. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If your business isn't selling something, then you're not in business.
Have you ever watched the movie called The Alamo there, Paul? You ever seen the Alamo? Yeah. You ever watched The Alamo there, Jill?
I have.
You know how in the movie, and I'm not saying we want to be the Alamo, but this is kind of like running a business. This is what it's like to run a business. It's kind of like, you're there, you're talking to your guys, you got a sword. You're firing up your troops. But then at some point, you actually have to be the one as the leader who goes out front. You have to be the one who's out front there when the battle begins. And that means you have the most risk. And as they start firing, here we go. Oh, here it is. Oh, here it goes. Let me cue it up. And this crazy guy in the Alamo movie, he's out front right now. He's telling people to charge, but he's leading the charge.
Right.
And as a business owner, you've got to be out front. And the people behind you are like, I don't know if we should leave this foxhole. I don't know if we should. They're like, we should charge, but
selling is not comfortable for everybody. I mean, when I was 10, I had to go sell a box of chocolate bars to my entire neighborhood in order to stay on the soccer team. And there were about 25 bars in there. I ate 23 of them and had my parents.
I have an audio clip of you. You were kind of hoarse that day. This is audio of you explaining
10.
to your friends when you were 10. You were kind of hoarse, so it sounds almost more manly that day.
Right.
But this is you explaining to your, I believe, and Andrew was miking you at the, Andrew, because I don't know how old Jill is, but this was like
Andrew wasn't a thought yet.
This is Andrew, preconception Andrew filming this. It's amazing, but let me cue this up.
What if they say I'm no good? What if they say, get out of here, kid, you got no future? I mean, I just don't think I can take that kind of rejection.
This is what people think, though. They're thinking like, I just don't know if I can handle that kind of rejection. But a boss, we have to make the obstacles seem small. Paul, I mean, is it a phenomenon? I mean, I'm just telling you, I've sent people to trade shows back in the day. I come back, I said, did you sell anything? No, but we got our name out there.
Mm-hmm. They all know who we were.
And so I had to make quotas. I had to put video cameras in the booth. I had to make scripts and systems and processes. And I had to have one kind of figurative Davy Crockett per booth to make the people sell something. Because if not, they would just go to the show and pass out cards. I think there's an aversion to selling
Did
something.
you incentivize them?
Oh, yeah.
And still came back not selling?
We got the Epic photography booth and the DJ Connection booth into a fine-tuned machine. But at first, guys would be like, well, what's the minimum I can get paid?
Yeah.
Like $100 a day. But you can make a huge commission and they would still come back with nothing. Because they just fear rejection. They'd rather get 0 rejections and less money than a lot of money and a lot of rejections.
Right.
It's not for everybody. It is a very, very tricky thing to try to make somebody who into a salesperson who is not.
Now you have moves that you can do that there's moves you shouldn't do. And then there's moves you should do. And then there's moves that are accepted and commonplace. So let's start off with the moves you shouldn't do, but what I did that worked. Back in the day, the DJs would not get on the phone. They were afraid of the phone. Mm-hmm. And I was like 21. This is pre-Christ for me, okay? Pre-Christ. PC, baby.
PC.
So I say to my guys, I said, hey, guys, there's like 2 guys. Sad sales meetings, by the way, when there's 3 people. So it's like, do we have to meet? Yes. Guys, we need to make 100 calls a day each. And you guys made 100 calls. Not this week, not last week. And the total of this month, you made 100 calls. So you're only about 97 calls short today, and I need you guys to step up the quota. Guy number 1 says, bro, people just hang up on me. Guy 2, a lot of these are bad leads. So I'm like, here's the deal. I'll be back. Like, where are you going? I'll be back. Just don't leave this room for 10 minutes. I go to QT. It's like 10 a.m. Okay, they got QT. He's like, really? You want that much beer? Now, this is not the intense beer we have now. Now we have the Paul, what kind of beer do we have now? It's the.
Why you gotta ask me? It's 6.0, and I don't know why you gotta ask me. What's 3.2?
You're my beer coach.
Oh,
you're
am
my
I?
beer
Okay.
coach. You're the guy. I say beer coach. What do you say? So it's 6-point beer.
6 point.
But back in the day, what was it?
3.2.
3-2.
Wait, Paul, are you drinking? Is that 6 point that you have right there in front of you?
Yeah, that's both of them are.
So anyway,
double fisting it.
So
today.
I come back into the office. I'm like, guys, here's the deal. Because I'd been to weddings before. I noticed that before every toast, the maid of honor always wanted to have a glass of something.
Sure.
And the best man did too. And I thought, oh man, we got to create that boisterous atmosphere. So I said, you guys get on that phone, and if somebody hangs up on you, you pop yourself a beer. So you call, but if someone's mean to you, hangs up, we record the calls. But if somebody hangs up on you, you get a beer. So they kind of wanted the beer. They're like, oh, I want this rejection. Calling super nervous. Hey, is this the bride-to-be? I'm calling on behalf of DJJ Connection. Not interested. Yes, sweet. Boom, pop a beer. Well, about 3 rejections into it, it's like 11 a.m. and the guys are like, is this Karen? Yeah, Karen, this is like, oh, I have a DJ Connection at work, and the brides are like, okay, kind of, who is this guy? But if you're a DJ, you need to kind of sound like you're having a blasty blast.
Right.
And so converting my team into AM alcoholics turned us into a great sales force.
Perfect.
The details weren't there. We might book people on the wrong day. We might have bad notes. But then I realized we got to taper down this method. That's not a move. So I moved on to the better accepted best practice, which was to
wine.
Sit next to the guys. Sit next to the guys as they were making calls. So I'm in the trenches with them, and I'm making calls, and they're making calls. I'm in the trenches with them. I'm on the phone. They're on the phone. We're on the phone together. And every time that they got hung up on, I gave them like a $5 bonus. And so I created an incentive where they didn't mind that rejection. And now today, because I have so many recorded calls and so many best practice systems, now there's a culture where everyone's on the phone every day. Andrew, you can shout out a number, but how many cold calls per day does our average person make at this point?
Per day, it'd be like 250.
250 outbound calls a day.
Per person?
Yeah.
Per person, 250 calls a day.
It's wild.
We've got some that can do like 300 to 400.
Per day?
Here's the deal. We're calling right now Paul's current clients who are very happy with his services and asking them to leave an objective review about his services. And you only reach like 2 people per hour because people are at work or whatever. But we just pound that phone, man. I mean, so you're only reaching probably, 15 people a day.
What kind of person do you look for to make 300 phone calls a day?
Hey, Andrew, let's find clairvoyance. I think she's here real quick. Let's get her. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So bosses must always be selling something. He's going to go get Claire, and we can interview her. But bosses always have to be selling something. We got to do it. But I think there's a big pushback where people don't want. There we go. We got Claire. Claire, can you throw on some headphones real quick on this quick impromptu? Now, what we're going to do is it's going to be like Motown here, where we're going to have Paul and it'll be Paul and Jill are sharing a mic like Motown, and then Claire has her own mic because it's a kind of a dysfunctional Motown where we haven't rehearsed ahead of time. But you just asked me what question there, Jill?
Okay, so Clay just told me that he has some people that make 250 to 300 cold calls a day. Now, I don't even like to call my doctor back after they called me and left a message for 3 days in a row. I said, what kind of a person does he look for when he's looking for somebody to make 300 cold calls a day?
Shonda, you're getting ready to flow.
Oh.
Feel the glory of God.
Oh. Yes. I love cold calls. Oh. Shonda.
Wait, is Claire that person? Claire, are you the one that makes
is 100% me.
Okay,
we do a praise break every 10 minutes.
How do you not, like, I can't imagine making 300 cold calls a day. I don't like one cold call a year, so I just got to hear how you do
So
that.
I understand, but it's not just the fact of I'm just making cold calls, but it's the reason why I'm doing it, which is back to everything when it comes to running a business. It's why are we doing what we're doing? Is it I'm a slave to this, or am I actually here to make money so that I can live the life I want to live? So for me, whenever we're looking for people who do cold calls, we want them to have energy, have spunk. Because if you look out here, all the people that are making calls, if you look dead, we're going to probably yell at you because we have a bell and then we start screaming and start yelling. So one, the environment is a big deal. So people have a hard time being isolated by themselves.
True.
But here we have music playing. We get the energy going. We create the atmosphere. Because it's all about the goal. Like, why are we doing this? Because it can be mundane.
Do you like to make cuffs?
Cuffs? Jill, I'm going to be honest. I've actually never made a cuff in my entire life.
First of all, I have known you just a
Yes.
teeny tiny bit.
Yeah.
I'm just floored by the fact that you do 300 phone calls a day. But
Oh yeah.
truly, your
All day.
reason behind it, that instead of the drudgery of making a phone call, that you have your reason why. Bravo to you, because I think that if you keep that in perspective, then you don't mind so much maybe the hang-ups or just the awkwardness. So way to go, Claire.
it's I mean, like, it's cold calling is not like I live to cold call.
Get out of here. It's the
Absolutely not.
best.
Wait,
No.
can I just understand really quick, Clay? I want to hear what a cold call sounds like, okay?
Oh, okay.
Because I don't understand
absolutely.
exactly what your job is. So
Do you want me to
will you
call?
cold call me?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cold call
All
me.
right. Bling, bling, bling.
This is Jill.
Is this the amazing Jill Donovan?
I don't know about amazing, but yes, this is Jill Donovan.
Hello, Jill. This is Claire, and I'm actually calling on behalf of my boss, Clay Stairs, and his company, the Leadership Initiative.
Okay.
Jill, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm right in the middle of something, Claire.
Absolutely.
My daughter is throwing up.
Oh.
But go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
my husband he'll come home in about 20 minutes. You're fine.
Okay, yes. So I know you were not just waiting for my call, so I'll make this very quick.
Thank you.
So Mr. Stairs, he is a business consultant.
Sweetie, I'll be right there.
Yes, and he's asked
Now,
me.
quick time out. She is very, very, very good at this.
Right.
And I have my last cold call that I ever booked at DJ Connection. I have that recorded as well.
Oh.
So here's this one. This
Oh,
is same.
the one up.
No,
I
not
want
one
to
up.
buy whatever Claire is selling. 'Cause I
DJ
like
Connection,
that.
this is Clay. How can I help you?
Hi, I was calling in regards to a phone call that you had sent to me a while ago about a package deal.
See, and so again, the key is make enough calls because people call you back. Now, just to get into some details, and I want Paul to interrogate Sean about cold calling real quick, is that when you make calls, if you make 200 calls a day, you're going to get about 6 to 7 people that will call you back. Now, people don't answer numbers unless they know the number. So you got to send out a text now. So the key at the wedding show is you leave a vague voicemail. So, Paul, I'm going to leave you a vague voicemail.
All right.
These are the ones that get the call back.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Again, this voicemail. So, hey, Paul, if you could give me a call back. This is Clay up here at the insurance company, and I need to reach you. It's very urgent. If you just call me back right away, that would be great. I just need to get this wrapped up with your file. Ooh, that's going to get a call back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm calling on behalf of Oral Roberts University back in the day, this is a good voicemail. Okay. Paul, this is Clay up here calling on behalf of ORU. Full disclaimer, I'm not anymore, but I used to. Calling on behalf of ORU, and we have a concern about your alumni account. And if you can just call me back, I just really want to get this resolved. And people are like concerned. Now, when they call back, what's the concern? They say, what is the concern? You say, well, we noticed you donated last year, and we didn't give you your free tickets to the game. We want to hook you up. And they're like, oh, okay. But you got to get the call back.
Right.
That's the move.
Absolutely.
It's the move. It's why you put dog in front of like or meat. Not dog in front of meat. You put meat in front of a dog.
Yeah.
It's got like a reward thing. Now, Sean, Paul's
Yes.
going to interrogate you about cold calling. So he could ask you any question at all about cold calling, and be prepared to answer with the whole truth, or half the truth, or whatever part of the truth you want to do it. But so
Only
help
not the
you,
truth. Got it.
God.
There it is. Hey, Sean, so here's my deal. So I think that most of us that are driven will do a lot of things for money. And it's not money, it's what money can produce. So I want to know, how big is an incentive program in your decisions to actually sit and make all those phone calls? Or is this just something you're just sick and psychotic and you just love to call people?
Yeah, it's all about the reward.
You bet.
It's 100% about the reward. And we break it down also for our employees so that it's not just about the big reward, but there's little rewards along the way. So if I set an appointment and that person picks up the phone,
Claire will give you a
that's
Skittle.
$20 for me.
Oh, $20. Okay.
That's $20. And then, $20 if they pick up
Boom.
the phone. Because that's an opportunity to sell our services. And if that person just so happens to say, yes, I will buy your services, then I make an additional $425.
Boom. See? So when Clay when I first started working with Clay, he walked around with a fly swatter and smacked people. So the $20 and the $420, that's better incentive, right? So you can have positive and negative incentive, but you're saying that positive incentive definitely works better.
For me, yeah.
But if somebody is wanting, to get this kind of creative style, because you're an A player, that even with an incentive-based program, do you think the incentives work for just anybody off the street, or do you really have to come in with that motivation and that desire?
Hey, real quick, what percentage of how many people have you had to go through to find a good fit here? Because we have a good fit who just came back. She came back from L.A.
Yes.
She left Tulsa, Oklahoma to leave to go discover L.A., Los Angeles.
Yep.
Kendall, to find greater opportunities, to discover that Tulsa's where it's at.
Yeah, let's just say it's really nice to get her back in the office.
She's back.
I know she can do it.
She's gone for a year.
Yeah.
So, Sean, what you're saying is you find somebody who's motivated, right? Has a desire that wants something more out of life, and then you create what to get them to do this?
Well, it's a commission structure, compensation
an
structure.
incentive-based program.
But we also have a stick because it's important for the
beat
company.
stick, yeah.
We've got to hit a certain number of outbound calls, and so there's the incentive there to do that. And if you do that, you can make some money. But if you don't do that, there's also a stick that comes in, and that's actually a ding to your base pay that you would take home for that day if you don't hit just the number of calls.
I have audio of actually you and Mr. Stairs. It was like last week. I want to say it was Tuesday. This is at Andrew. Is it? I think at 3 o'clock. Tuesday at 3 p.m. Yep. And this is audio of Stairs. What I would consider, what many would say is letting you have it. So I'm going to cue it up, but your attitude going through this disciplinary process was really amazing. Let me cue it up here.
Gosh, here we go.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Oh, that's wait. Let me cue it up again. I want to make sure I hear it.
Thank
Painful
you, sir.
memories.
May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
You're bringing up tough memories.
Okay, all right. Well,
Wait, so do you do the same thing Claire does?
Yes.
Yes. And so can I ask how often it is that somebody would pick up?
It's about 8% of the time. Business owners like yourself who are busy and have a lot of things going on, about 8% of the time they pick up the phone.
And did you learn from Claire? Because she was really good. Or did she learn from you?
I think we've learned from each other.
Yeah.
Sean, how long did it take you to become good at your job, outbound calling?
Several months.
And
sure.
Sean applied for a job to work with me, and I was booked out. I didn't have a spot, so I referred him to Clay Stairs. And you've been here for how long have you worked with Clay?
It'll be 3 months in October.
3 years?
3 years in October, excuse me. Whoa.
See?
Whoa. Shunda. Oh,
See how
wow.
fast time flies?
Yeah.
Wow. It was a good correction, though. I gave you a mega point. Okay, so I have a couple other questions here, and I'm gonna tee this up here. This one's for Paul Hood. Then we'll go to Jill, and then Sean, because you're hogging a mic, you can do whatever you want to do here. So here we go. So Paul, knowing your numbers, I see a lot of business owners who say, as an owner, I'm a visionary. My job is to find great people and to sell something. Mm-hmm. But then you're like, hey, but are you making any money? And they go,
who knows?
I don't know, frick. I mean, I'm not the numbers guy. I'm the business owner. I'm the visionary. But you know this. You can't abdicate your finances. So Paul Hood, you can bring as much passion as you want to here. Please feel free to preach the good news of knowing your numbers, because people that do not know their numbers end up living in a van down by the river. Goodbye, Claire. Back to you, Paul.
Yeah, Clay. So I believe we've won the ovarian lottery being born in this country. But the problem is we don't teach our system of economics. We don't teach people how to create wealth. We teach people how to be a good technician, be a good accountant, be a good plumber, be a good doctor. And they have no earthly idea how to create wealth, how to manage. And, if you're trying to lose weight, you got to step on the scale. If you don't step on the scale, you don't know what you're doing. You have to measure and be intentional with everything that you do. When Bryce and I did that physique bodybuilding show, we measured our food, exactly what we were going to eat, when we were going to eat, what weights did we lift, and everything that went in our body and every movement we made had a purpose. And so, but without that measuring factor, we wouldn't be able to tell whether it was working. And so what we do at Hood CPAs is actually help people figure out where they're at today, because, Clay, they don't know where they're at. They don't know where they're at.
A lot of people, when they meet with you, they have the impression that you're going to tell them where they're at, where they want to be. You're going to tell them the fictitious story of where they want to be. Yeah. But you sit down. No hyperbole. You're an accountant. You're a CPA. Give us the measured answer. What percentage? Now, you have thousands of clients.
Yep.
What percentage of clients know their numbers? Like, they know how much money is in their bank account, or they know where they're at they're caught up on taxes before they meet you?
There's less than 3% of the people that come in our office that know that, Clay. People are so busy they don't do it. They don't do it. And so what we can do is we take a restaurant that has an 82% of cost of food, and in a matter of 2 months they're down to 50% cost of food because they're actually measuring. We take a drinking establishment, adult beverage place that is giving $4,000 a month away in drinks to the band that they don't realize, and there's all their profit, and because they just don't take the time to measure.
Tillman Fertitta, owner of the Houston Rockets, in his book Shut Up and Listen, he talks about this idea. He says that some of his restaurants, he's noticed that if you don't put out bread and you ask people, would you like bread? Just that move of not putting the bread out first and asking, would you like bread, saves his company millions of dollars. Because most people, if you put the bread out, about half the people don't want the bread, so the bread just goes unused and it's a waste. And so, again, it's just knowing your numbers. Now, Jill, I'm not asking you to divulge the numbers, but at Rustic Cuff, you now have 100-plus employees, 120-something plus.
Show off.
Talk to me about the numbers and why you have to at least have your finger on the pulse of the numbers, because people think it's all vision.
Right.
It's all rah-rah. They don't think about the quiet time you spend alone when you were growing it, thinking like, oh my gosh, are we going to make payroll? I mean, people don't think about the quiet, meditative, even potentially soul-sucking agony of looking at your numbers.
Yes.
Talk to me about the importance of knowing your numbers.
Well, when my girls and I were in the bodybuilding competition, we had to know every. Sorry, Paul. You weren't even watching me when I was talking about that. I was just trying to get your attention. Clay, when I first started, I had a sticky notes, and I used to lay all the sticky notes on the left side for all of the bills we owed, and then all the sticky notes on the right side for things that were coming in, and that was my accounting system.
It's a move.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I knew it down to the very, very penny. And as you grow, it gets trickier, but I always know, because if you don't know, you can't grow. I totally made that up. Scratch
that's
that.
Great.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, wow.
No, it's
that's
not. You can still grow if you don't know. If you don't know, you cannot be intentional about the moves that you need to make. So I still do my sticky notes. I do it at home, or I do it in my head, and then I let my accountants do all the detailed.
Clay, do I have to get her permission to put that phrase on a T-shirt? I'm kind of liking that.
If she doesn't
if you
approve
don't
that,
know,
you can't grow.
You can't grow.
But don't quote me on that, because I still think you can be growing even if the CEO doesn't know.
I have one. I think we could put on a shirt. It says,
well.
if you have a smoke-induced stoma, you're probably living alona.
Oh,
look at that! That's that. You put that on
Jill,
a shirt.
Jill, I like yours better.
Now but can I talk?
Go ahead,
can
Jill.
I tell
Back to you.
I gotta tell a quick story. This is funny. Yesterday, I was telling somebody about the name of Rustic Cuff and how we came up with it, and I said in the beginning I was just doing leather cuffs, all rustic, and so naturally you name it sometimes because you don't think you're gonna grow because you don't know.
Oh.
And, okay, there you go. And so I said it's sort of like when you named your child something in the 70s when you were not really with it. Now, that's such a generalization. But during a time, do you know what I'm talking about? When you're not really with it?
No. You know, Clay first is bringing up beer, and now you're saying I'm not with it.
So I'm sorry. I should look at Clay instead of you. So you name your you name your child something, and I said to this. Do I talk over the music?
No,
or
you have to. You have to.
So I said to this group of people, I said sort of like if you named your child Stoney, and then years later you're like, what was I thinking? Well, I was talking to 10 people. The lady in the front said, my nephew's name is Stoney.
See?
How would I never? I
you
love the name
subscribe
Stone,
right now
but I said
to Rustic Love. We're going to hook you up
my
with a partner out
goodness.
there, somebody by the name of Stoney. Anybody out there, if your name is Stoney?
I was so embarrassed.
Or Leroy? Or,
I love the name Stoney.
Shaquila. You just come on and go to rusticlove.com. We'll get you a free cuff. We'll hook you up with a fine young woman or male or somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter to us, really. Rustic Love.
That's great.
Do you know anybody named Stoney? I love that name now, but
we actually used to call Sean that before he sobered up.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm done with analogies because that analogy would just backfired.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I respect that.
I went off on a trail. I'm sorry. Go back.
No, you're good. Okay, so now let's put a little bow on this box here. Let's kind of tuck in this show here. So again, if you're a boss, you've got to make big obstacles seem small, but you have to always be recruiting. Number one, you must always be recruiting high character people. 2, a boss must always be selling something. 3, bosses must always know their numbers. Paul, Jill, I'll give you the final word. Paul, pile on. Is there anything else that a boss should always be doing? Because we know a boss should always make big obstacles seem small. They should always be recruiting, always be selling, and always know their numbers. What other things should a boss always be doing?
Well, one of the things I've learned over the years, Clay, is everybody's not created equal. And in my practice, and I think in most businesses, you have to have those salespeople, but you also have to have the support people. And I'm a certain type. I'm a certain personality. And again, back to thinking of my business as a professional football team. If I take somebody who's a lineman, who is an A player as a lineman, and try to stick them at a quarterback, they're not going to do that great. So you've got to. I would just tell business people that you may meet somebody who may not be like you, but that can be an A player. I've got in my firm, I've got people that they want to sit in a room with the door shut. They don't want to talk to anybody, but they will pile out work. They will just push it out. And then I've got other people that will like to sell. So the thing is you've got to know your business.
Yep.
And you've got to know where you got to put players, and then evaluate those players based on their skills at where you can use them as an A player.
I have audio of Sean. Not this Sean, a different Sean. This Sean we never had this problem with. It was a different Sean. This is audio, Jill, of this before we could recruit the high character Sean you see here. We had a different Sean, and this is audio of our sales meeting with him. And this is what he said. Hey, you got to get on the phone. And this is what he said in a smoke-filled room. This is what he said. He said, that's what he said. We're saying, hey, you got to get back on the phone. And he says, oh, let me get it. I don't know if there's a whole lot of I don't know if there's a whole lot of hope to fix a guy like that. I don't know.
No.
Oh my.
All right, Jill. Big obstacles seem small. The boss's job. Always recruiting. Always selling something. Always knowing their numbers. What else?
Always connecting. Always connecting at any moment, at any turn, at any point that you can with everybody that's in your family.
You know,
work family and family.
This is me in the morning before I have my quiet time,
meds?
My meta time, quiet time meds. No, but this is in the morning. I wake up and I typically sound like this. Because I wake up and I'm like, frick, it's 3 a.m. I look like a gremlin. I feel like a gremlin. I don't want to be awake. And you've got to make sure as a boss, every day you recalibrate and make sure you're in a great, happy, optimistic, positive mindset before you see your employees. Because if you don't, it's really going to suck the soul of your team. And like I always say,
like eating a spoonful of Drano. Sure, it'll clean you out, but it'll leave you hollow inside.
I don't know what that means, but I thought we should.
Is this what you do at 3 o'clock in the morning? You look for these clips?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a reason to play this clip, and I just feel like Paul, you know what they say?
Like eating a spoonful of Drano. Sure, it'll clean you out, but it'll leave you hollow inside.
I say that at least once a week, Clay. I do. I say that at least once a week.
Well, we're going to end the show with a boom. And without any further ado, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Stop what you're doing and think about this for a second. What would happen if your company was suddenly able to generate exponentially more quality sales leads? That would be incredible. What would happen if your company came up at the top or near the top of the Google search engine results? Well, I would just feel overwhelmed with all that business. How many thousands of dollars in lost sales or millions of dollars in lost sales are you missing out on simply because your potential customers can't find you when they go online to search for the products and services that you offer? I refuse to think that thought because I don't want any more business. Unless you are a dirty communist that hates money, my new book, Search Engine Domination, will help you grow your business. In my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate the search engine results. What do you mean by dominate? You see, in my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate search engine results. Download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com. I repeat, that's thebestseobook.com.
My name is Amy Baltimore, and I am a CPA in Covington, Tennessee. I've been working with the Thrive team now for about a year. One of the first things that they did was to update my website and my search engine optimization. I prior had a website, but I was not being found on Google, and all of my new business was coming through referrals from friends, family, etc. And right away, I started to see results. People were calling and coming in saying that they found me on Google. They just Googled CPA near me, and there I was at the top of the page. And so it's been a great help to my business.
Again, you can download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com.
Hey, this is Dustin Huff. I'm with Keystone Harbor Marina. We joined Thrive back in January and have been working with these guys for about 7 months. During that time period, we have moved up our Google rank through reviews and SEO processes that we've compiled through these guys. Our leads have gone from about 4 a week to now 165 a week. So the process works. I will tell you from experience, once you begin, you have to stay with it. As long as you continually do this week in and week out, month in and month out, you'll continually grow.
The system works, but nothing works unless you do. You've got to take some action. Download the ebook for free today at thebestseobook.com.
Hello, my name is Daniel with Daniel's Heating and Air here in Amarillo, Texas. The way Google has affected my business, we have got a lot of calls from Google. Right now it's July, and we've had the best month ever. And it took us about 8 to 10 months to get on top of Google, and I'm glad we did.
Remember, nothing works unless you do. You have to go to thebestseobook.com today. Download the ebook for free. Just download that ebook for free, and you'll be off to the races.
Hi, my name is Christina Nemes. I'm the owner and operator of Angel's Touch Auto Body and Detailing in Bourne, Massachusetts. We have been working with Thrive and their coaching for, say, 8 to 9 months, and it took us about 6 months, 5 to 6 months to get on the top of Google, and with their help with the website and marketing, and the SEO and retargeting ads with Google, and it has been phenomenal. We just have light and day business coming in, phone calls coming in, walk-ins, referrals. It's just through the roof, and we couldn't be happier. At the moment, we are up 50% this year from the previous year, and not only is that part of our own hard work and diligence, but also with the help of Thrive and what they've done for us and getting us on the top of Google and, you know, all their knowledge and coaching. And yeah, so super grateful, super pumped to see what the future holds for all of us. Thank you.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Proverbs 10:4. I'm here to tell you, you can do it if you can just motivate yourself. 12 the masses had to cut off a few, so on the daily you and I could rendezvous. A misshapen tree that I had to prune. I had to make cuts to be here daily at noon. So like a tidal wave of knowledge monsoon, I could rain on the parades of those who doubt in you. Are you the next Rockefeller or the next guru, or the next Dr. King who's changing the rules? Walls are in your way, will you run right through? Like a running back, forth the one, it's up to you. I remember my days back in the dorm room, tuned to the gloom like the temple of doom, overwhelmed with the doubts that try to consume my hope for the future that I could pursue. But from the mountaintop now I can conclude that you have what it takes if you want the view to.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time. It's your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
This moment is profound cause you're above the ground. Your road might have been rough, but what you got now is now. We're here to pick you up and to even show you how, but you gotta be resourceful with that old plow. Started from the bottom, but I worked my way up, cause by 4 a.m. I've always been prayed up. Rise and grind as your time don't They're up, you gotta get it. Don't quit it till your seeds grow
This
up.
is your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find.
Yes.
Today is your day.
Somebody say.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
It's your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find. Today is your day. And now is your time.
It's your time. We all have a wish and we all want to win, but we cannot begin without self-discipline. If you fall on your face, get yourself up again. Attach yourself to goals, not fail with the friends. When the storms get rough and it's scattered and leave, you only be there with yourself and what you believe. We believe in you, but not as much as God does. If you're going through hell, he's got nothing but love. Apply what you learn, increase what you earn, and in due time
You
you
got
have
money to burn. Apply what you learn, increase what you earn, and in due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you learn, increase what you earn. In due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you learn,
Sing it.
increase what you earn.
Yes.
In due time you got money to
With
to
this typical
burn.
miracle,
Yeah.
I look to shout down the doubters, kill the weeds that be killing your dream flowers, empower you to devour all the obstacles that make your sweet dreams sour. As for me, I used to stutter, but now I'm on the microphone smooth like butter. If I can do it, I know you can too, but you must stick to it like postage do. And while Merton's on the chorus, singing what he sings, I encourage you to dream big dreams.
Today is your day.
Today's your day.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
This is your year to thrive.
Sing it, sing it.
Success you will find. Today is your day.
It's your day.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
Today is your day.
Come on.
And now is your time.
Sing it, Martin.
Today is your day. Now is your time.
I realize I can't sing like that, but I can talk and play the woodblock. Okay. If you guys need me, I'll just be over here.